we'll just get started. Next slide, please. Just the previous slide, Anne, on the agenda. Perfect, thank you. So today's presentation is really designed to give you a clear overview of who we are as a WHO network and what we really offer to cities and towns like yours. And so this session is really intended for new cities that are interested in applying to join the WHO network for the first time. But it's also open for former cities in the UK who were maybe members of the WHO network from earlier phases, but wishing to rejoin. We'll talk through what it means to become a member, including the different types of membership, and why a designated city status is a preferred pathway for Phase VIII. We'll also introduce what Phase VIII is, which is our new programmatic cycle that is running from 2026 to 2030. I'll share some key documents that will help guide the process and kind of give you a clear understanding of what the designation steps look like. And then I'll just close with some next steps. And so we hope this session really just kind of gives you an idea of whether you'd like to join the WHO network and whether it aligns with kind of the work that you do. Next slide, please. So in terms of what is the WHO network? So this is just a title slide, so Dan, you can go to the next slide. The WHO network was launched in 1988 as a cross-cutting and political and intersectoral initiative. And really, it's a collaborative network of cities and municipalities in the European region that were really dedicated to improving the health and well-being of their communities. So it was established over 35 years ago with the intention to translate the Ottawa Charter of Health Promotion into the streets of Europe. In 2018, we adopted the Copenhagen Consensus of Mayors, which sets out the thematic priorities of the network from 2019 to 2025. And most recently, mid last year, we held an annual business meeting in Bursa, Turkey, where we brought together members, politicians, external stakeholders across the region. And then later this year, so in June of this year, we will be hosting an annual business meeting in another one of our member cities in Viana do Castelo, Portugal. And on the slide, I have it as 15th to the 19th of June, but that is a little bit of a typo. It should be 15th to the 18th. Next slide, please. So in terms of our reach, the network includes over 100 members. So as of now, we have about 83 cities and 22 national networks with a reach of over 1,900 cities and municipalities. Currently, as I had mentioned, we have launched Phase VIII, and we're receiving a lot of positive feedback and interest from newer cities who want to join, and we're hoping that we receive the same intention with you all here today as well. Next slide, please. So the network also operates through a clear governance structure. So for one, it sits within the WHO Regional Office for Europe. And within this, the Secretariat of the WHO European Healthy Cities Network provides political, strategic, and technical support to our member cities and national networks. So we support member engagement, we develop resources for capacity building, and we also support with coordinating any activities across our membership. The network is also made up of two types of members. So you'll see on the right side of this diagram, we have cities and national networks. The network also includes several committees and working groups. So these committees, you'll see on the mid-right side of this diagram are the scientific committee, the political committee, and the advisory committee. The scientific committee is comprised of independent scientific and technical experts, as well as senior WHO staff who can provide kind of technical advice to us. We have the political committee, which is comprised of city and national network political representatives who advise the WHO on the network's political direction and any emerging issues that may be significant. And then we have the advisory committee, which is an elected committee of city and national network coordinators who provide strategic guidance expert insight, and informed recommendations to support the network's goals and operations. You'll see that we also have working groups and task forces. So we have the Healthy Aging Task Force, we have the Environmental Health Working Group, we have the Place, Health, and Inequalities and Wellbeing Working Group, and we also have a Health and All Policies Working Group. Later this year, we also plan on introducing additional working groups, one focused on resilience, one focused on food systems, and then one that will be focused on youth and child-friendly cities. And beyond these entities, we also have several partnerships with other WHO divisions and regional offices, as well as independent suppliers and assessors, but as well as WHO collaborating centers. So WHO collaborating centers are institutions such as research institutes that are part of universities or academies that are designated by the WHO Director General. And they're really meant to help us carry activities in support of WHO programs. And currently, the WHO European Healthy Cities Network has partnerships with two collaborating centers, and they both actually happen to be in the UK. One is with the University of West England in Bristol, and the other is it's a collaborating center for Place. It's our newest collaborating center with Public Health Scotland. Next slide, please. Okay, so I've shared a little bit of what we are as a network, but I want to kind of get into more why we'd love for you to join the network. So next slide, please. So to start, the network offers two membership pathways, each with its own requirements and level of engagement. The first way you can join to be part of the network is as a network member. So network membership is open to any city that wishes to join the network and commit to its values and principles. Being a network member has mainly two requirements: payment of the annual membership fee and submission of a letter of expression of interest that we would like signed by your mayor or lead politician. And this letter really is just committing to the values of the network. The second and most common way to join the network, and what majority of our members choose, is to become a designated city member. So designated city status is for cities that want to take maybe a stronger leadership role in the Healthy Cities movement. It recognizes more of a deeper commitment and more direct alignment with the work of the WHO network. And one of the things that's important for a designated city member is that they also support the priorities that we have defined in Phase 8. And as I mentioned earlier, Phase 8 is our new programmatic cycle that will run from 2026 to 2030. So as a designated city member, some of the work that you will do will also align with kind of the work of the Phase 8. And the intention really isn't to reinvent the cycle and to create new priorities, but we've outlined specific priorities in Phase 8 that are very much in line with what cities are doing. And so it's not us really directing the work you do, but just finding alignment with the work that you do and some of the priorities that we've set. So to become a designated healthy city, there are a few requirements similar to a network member, but also additional to it. You have to also pay an annual membership fee, as well as a letter of expression of interest that's also signed by your mayor or lead politician. But what's different is we also require a letter of endorsement or an equivalent council resolution, which is again confirming a city council or political commitment to the network's values. Completion of the Phase 8 application form, along with any supporting documents. And then you'll see in brackets in the last bullet an optional city health profile. So we've created a template. I'll kind of get to this later on. But that's something that's also optional for cities to develop if they would like to become a designated city. Next slide, please. So this slide here breaks down the main differences between a network member and a designated city member, not just by what is required, but also some of the benefits you'd receive. So I know there's a lot of content on this slide, and rest assured, you'll get a copy of this next week when Anne shares it. But there's a few things that are the same. So things like an annual membership fee, letter of expression of interest. But in terms of, for example, being visible on the WHO European Healthy Cities Network, as a network member, you won't be listed. But if you're a designated city member, you will be. In terms of being able to use our materials, so the WHO designated healthy city label and logo and materials, as a network member, you won't be able to, but as a designated city member, you will be. And so these are just some of the differences as to, what it means to join the network as a network member and what it means to join the network as a designated city member. Next slide, please. So in terms of the work that we do, the network is first and foremost a platform for knowledge and exchange. So we provide an opportunity to share knowledge with cities and vice versa with us. So as I mentioned earlier, we host annual business meetings and technical conferences for our members. Again, last year we hosted it in Bursa, Turkey. And this year we'll be hosting it in Viana do Castelo, in Portugal. And again, this is actually open to anyone to attend. It's not just open to our membership, and that's one of the beauties of convening something like this. So the annual business meeting and technical conferences include plenary sessions where we have keynote speakers and panels of speakers. We have interactive workshops. We have a dedicated space for political leaders to engage and shape the direction of the network. So it's a really good opportunity to attend and join and learn and network. We've also recently launched our data hub, which is really a compendium. It's a platform that essentially consolidates all the work of our membership. So it centralizes data from our member cities and national networks, our working groups and task forces. And it's really a compendium of best practices. And it's a platform that's open to our members, all members, to kind of go through and learn and kind of see what other neighboring cities are doing, and kind of provides the opportunity for you to network with other cities that may be doing work that you're interested in. We're also planning to host a series of thematic webinars this year featuring city examples and expert insights, and practical guidance that are linked to the Phase 8 themes and priorities. And finally, we like to host quarterly coordinator meetings each year to kind of get updates from our coordinators and to also share updates with them. And again, this is open to all coordinators of the membership. So whether you're a network member or whether you're a designated city, it's open to all. Next slide, please. And then as highlighted earlier, we do have several working groups and task forces. These working groups and task forces are only open to members of the network. So again, whether you're a network member or whether you're a designated city member, it is only open to members. And then we also have several committees, as I mentioned as well, the scientific committee, the political committee, the advisory committee. The advisory committee, again, is made up of city and national network coordinators from our membership. However, I do want to stress that to be nominated and elected to our advisory committee, it is only coordinators who are from designated cities or accredited national networks. And so only cities that are accredited or national networks that are, cities that are designated and national networks that are accredited will have the right to nominate, vote, and be elected to the advisory committee. Next slide, please. One of the network's core strengths is also building and facilitating partnerships. So we do this through peer exchanges involving both technical and political representatives. So for example, in 2024, we partnered with the WHO Western Pacific region, and we organized a study tour to Japan. So we had delegates from 6 cities, Utrecht, Brno, Helsinki, Rennes, Paleoferrero, and Lodz. And we also facilitated partnerships closer to home. So we hosted students in 2024 from the University of Copenhagen as part of our summer course. And so they took part in a 1-day crash course on the social determinants of health and healthy cities. And they actually heard directly from from Denise, our coordinator from Cork, who shared examples of how their city implements healthy cities work. So those are just some examples of how we facilitate partnerships. Next slide, please. We also support cities in implementing health promoting policies. For example, we developed a 20 Steps to Healthy Cities course. It's an online course that guides participants through the 20 steps to building healthy, equitable, and sustainable cities. This online course is actually based on a guidance document that was developed and published in 2022. And this guidance document specifically draws experience from cities and coordinators across the region and across the network. And you'll see on the bottom right of the screen that there's a QR code. So if you scan that QR code, it will actually take you to the online course that you can take on your own. And of course, it's a free course as well. And next slide, please. And then finally, we like to strengthen the role of local government, again, with the support of cities. So we developed the City Leadership Report, which is aimed at decision makers and professionals for developing successful, healthy cities. Most recently, at our annual business meeting last year in Bursa, Turkey, mayors and political leaders adopted what we call the Bursa Commitment. It's a document, it's a commitment that reaffirms political intention towards the goals and themes of Phase 8. And this is actually currently with our publications department, and we hope to have this published soon. Late last year, we also collaborated with the Pan-European Commission on Climate and Health, which was convened by WHO Europe, but also under the leadership of the former Prime Minister of Iceland. And we hosted a special consultation focused on cities with the aim to kind of bring local voices on climate and health. And then towards the end of this year, we will host a WHO EU Summit on Mayors and Climate Action in collaboration with the City of Cork. And I know we have Councillor Fitzgerald with us, so I won't speak too much to it because I think this is an agenda item for you. But this is also something we're doing with the City of Cork. And once you become a member of the network, you'll have access to all these resources and events. Next slide, please. So I've shared a lot about the network and the types of memberships and the benefits that that you may gain access to if you join the network. But I've alluded quite a bit to Phase 8 throughout this whole presentation, but now I'd like to kind of set the scene. So as I mentioned earlier, the Healthy City Networks, it functions in programmatic phases, and these are really multi-year cycles that provide a shared direction for cities in the WHO European region. So with that understanding, I will go to the next slide and share a background on what Phase 8 is. So the network, again, has, as I mentioned earlier, has been around for over 35 years. And over these 35 years, we've actually gone through 7 different phases. So we've evolved from setting up structures like national networks to focusing on health and health policies. So Phase 8, again, will run from 2026 to 2030. And it's really designed to kind of focus on health equity, sustainability, climate resilience, and urban well-being. Next slide, please. The overarching vision for Phase 8 is that we envision a healthier, more inclusive and resilient cities that center communities in decision-making. It gives priority for future generations, environmental sustainability, economic well-being, and health across the life course, guided by equity, innovation, and participation. And so we know that this is a very broad and ambitious vision, and this is intentional because it's really trying to reflect where we want to go. But we've also realized that because it's so broad, it may be hard to kind of understand how do we actually translate this into action. And so to operationalize this vision, we've set out a clear framework of goals and themes and topics that will help translate this broader vision into actionable pathways. So next slide, please. So these are the goals of Phase 8, and these are really linked to the core themes of Phase 8, which I'll get to in the next slide. But these 3 goals are focused on advancing health equity by addressing inequities in systems, services, and health, to build sustainable urban environments that safeguard health and ensure safety and peace, and then to foster thriving communities by promoting mental well-being, encouraging active participation, and supporting local economies. So I'll go to the next slide because this is really the most interesting part of Phase 8. And that's really the themes of Phase 8. So these themes, or what we like to call the core pillars of the phase, is what we will refer to as the 7P framework. And that is because there are 7 Ps, because each theme actually starts with the letter P. So the first theme is really focused on people. The second theme is focused on place. The third is on partnership. participation. The fourth is on prosperity. The fifth is on peace, and the sixth is on planet. And the seventh is a new theme, and that's on prepare. Next slide, please. So I don't want to spend too much time on the next few slides because I've covered quite a lot today, and I know there's a lot more to cover. But that being said, so these are some of the topics that will fall under each theme. So one important note is that although these topic areas are organized in a manner where they fall under a specific theme, we also understand that some of these topics are cross-cutting in nature and may actually relate to more than one P or more than one theme. But just to kind of do things in a more organized manner, we have just organized these themes under these topics under a specific theme. So for example, under people, we have early childhood development, we have poverty reduction, we have community-based mental health support. For place, we have green and blue spaces, we have safe neighborhoods, we have child-friendly cities. If you go to the next slide, you will see that under participation, we have things like civic engagement, culture, recreational arts-based initiatives. Under prosperity, we have commercial determinants of health, decent work. Next slide, please. For peace, we have things like violence against children, conflict prevention and peace building. Planet, we have air quality, waste management, renewable energy. And for the last theme on prepare, on the next slide, we have topics like early warning and digital infrastructure. We have emergency mental health and psychosocial support. And so these are just some of the topics, or one could say the priorities that fall under each of the seven themes. But they're also not exhaustive. So we don't want to feel like these are the topics that if you do join the network that you need to address. Again, these are cross-cutting in nature and they're not exhaustive. So again, just for clarity of ease, we've organized these topics under specific themes or under a single theme, but we do understand that some of these topics, their impact and influence really does extend across multiple themes. And again, some of these topics are just a few that we've thought of, but we know that under these themes that there's many, many priorities that a city can address. Next slide, please. Thank you. So that's a bit of a background on Phase 8, but to support cities in joining and aligning with Phase 8, the Secretariat has also developed several documents, and all members will have access to these resources, but these documents are especially important for members that are interested in applying for designated city status. So next slide, please. So to support our members in taking part in Phase 8, we have developed a set of key reference documents. And as I just shared, these materials will be particularly helpful for those who are interested in applying to become a designated city, healthy city, because some of these documents actually outline the criteria as well as the application process for Phase 8. So again, I know there's a lot on this slide, and you will get these set of slides from Anne. But again, whether you decide to join as a network member or whether you decide to join as a designated city member, you'll have access to all of these documents. So on the left-hand side, you'll see we have the Phase 8 implementation framework, and this really sets the why and the what. So it defines the strategic direction for Phase 8. So similar to what I've just presented, it'll outline the vision, the goals, the themes, and the topics of Phase 8. The second document is the guidance document. So this is really just explaining the how. So it's for cities who are interested in applying to become a designated city member. So it'll share kind of the application process and provides kind of an overview or checklist of the requirements you need to be a designated city. And then the third document is the application form itself. So again, this is for cities that are interested in applying to become a designated city member. This document that we've shared on the right-hand side, this picture is a PDF version of the application form. And really this PDF version just helps you kind of get a preview of the questions and help you kind of prepare in advance. But what we are doing differently from this phase compared to other phases is that for Phase 8, we're asking members to complete their application through an online application form that we've developed. It essentially mimics exactly what's in the offline version, but it's just a way for us to centralize all the information in a clear way without losing any information. And so when you are ready to do the application, we will send you that online application form link. And I'm almost done. Next slide. So that is a little bit about the documents needed for applying for phase eight. And then I'll just share the next few slides, which are really focusing on the designation process. So next slide, please. So the designation process is divided into two parts. You have part one and you have part two. So part one is if you are a city that's completely new to the network, we would like you to send us an email expressing your interest to join the network. And so when you do that, that will kind of trigger the next few steps for us. So we'll send you a draft letter of expression of interest that you can use and customize to get signed by your city mayor or lead politician. Then we will share you an invoice for the annual membership fee. So for cities in the UK, for the year 2026, the membership fee will be 6,000 USD. And it's important that you also that you stay up to date with your payments because it helps you access some of our resources without being restricted to it. And then again, if you're applying to be a designated city, we will also send you a draft letter of endorsement that you can customize and share with your city council to review and sign. Alternatively, if you have a resolution of some sort, you can also share that with us as well. But we're sharing with you a letter of endorsement. Once you have submitted this part one documents, we will review the documents, make sure they're complete, and then we'll share the online application form with you. In the online application form, again, you can just look at the PDF document to kind of get an understanding of what information we're asking in the online application form. But it really has three major components. So an administrative component, which just asks you general information on your city, like your city, your population, the name of your city coordinator, their capacity to support. So are they a part-time staff? Are they full-time? The technical component is really the heart of the application. And so this is where we're asking you to share three good practices and three priority areas of action that you plan to take forward in phase eight and address. And these should be linked specifically to the phase eight themes and topics. And then you have the City Health profile, which again is an optional component, but we have a template ready. And so if you would like to fill that out, you may. It's also going to be online. And then we'll ask for any existing city plans or strategies. So things like your City Health Development Plan or strategy or policy or anything equivalent, we'll ask for you to share that with us. And then the final component is really just focusing on licensing and compliance. So asking you to review and sign a form allowing us to use photos and asking you to review a declaration of interest form. Next slide, please. Again, I know the image is a little small, but really this just kind of provides the overview of the process and timeline. So we put out a call for applications to all members of the network last year, at the end of last year. But again, if you're a new member, all you have to do is send us an email. You send us your initial part one documents. We'll review it to make sure that it's complete. And then we'll share the application form with you. And then you will share that back with us, a complete form. If it's incomplete, we'll just go back to you and ask you to complete some missing information. If it is complete, we will review it. And we will also share this with our external assessors and technical experts who will then review your application in more detail and then kind of give us a decision on whether you should be designated or not. Now, if you're not designated, which rarely happens, it just means that there may be some information missing. And so in which case we'll just ask you to kind of fill out that information or provide clarification. And when you are designated, you will receive a formal certificate that will be signed by WHO. And again, you'll be listed on our website. And I think that's it. I think I have a final slide on next steps. So my next slide is just, if you're interested in joining a network, whether as a network member or a designated city, just send us an email indicating this interest, and then we will kind of work with you accordingly. So we'll share the information that we request from you. We can have one-on-one calls with you if that's needed. And then if you are going to become, or you are interested in becoming a designated city, we'll share the online application form with you. And that's really it. So I know I went a little bit over time, but I really appreciate your patience. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jaitra. That was really and it was so informative, but I think the vast reach of the network the number of members that it includes, but also the opportunities for collaborating. It was fantastic to hear from you about the types of membership. So certainly for anyone that's interested in being a designated city, the national network of your country, so the UK network, will help you with the application process and guide you through it if this is your first time or you're returning to it. And it's a real opportunity to elevate both the work that your town or city are doing right across the European members. And it is definitely about learning and sharing. And there's the access to the tools and the training and the ongoing. So I think phase 8 presents a real wide range of topics when you were going through them. There are so many things that cities and towns in our network are working on individually. And what we have decided to do is focus on 4 key topics. But each topic will be interpreted differently. So whether you're at the start of your journey of looking at one of those high level concepts or you're embedded in it, it's an opportunity for you to share what you're doing and also learn what you. So thank you. Any questions for Jatra? If you put them in the Q&A box and then we'll come to them at the end. That was very valuable. Thank you so much, Jatra. And we all know that health is a political choice. So what we want to really learn from Councillor Tony Fitzgerald is the opportunities that exist for political leads in cities to join part of the Healthy Cities Network. How certainly Cork City have benefited from. Jatra mentioned the opportunity for the October meeting and also the summit that's happening, and also your role in the political vision group as well, Councillor Fitzgerald, shaping the public health priorities right across Europe, which is fantastic. So you're very welcome. Councillor Tony Fitzgerald has been a dedicated public servant since first being elected to Cork City Council in May 2004. Um, the Lord Mayor in 2017. Your role was to extend, overseeing the extension of Cork City, working collaboratively with political and local authority members to support the city's growth and development. And having visited it recently, you kindly hosted us a few times for study visits for learning. And the expansion of Cork City is phenomenal at the minute. So Councillor Fitzgerald is also the political representative to Cork Healthy Cities, the national network in Ireland, and also this led to his appointment of the WHO European Political Committee. So we're very keen to hear about your experience, your passion for crime prevention and early childhood interventions, and your role within WHO. You're very welcome. Let me just share your. Do you want me to share your slides, or
Please
would
do,
you?
Anne, please. Yeah.
Hopefully, right, let me just get them here for you, Tony. Here we are. Let me just start.
Very good.
That should be you. Okay.
Brilliant. Can you go to the first one, please? Yeah. So, hi everybody, and greetings from Cork City in Ireland, and delighted to be with you all, particularly with Anna and Yelcha and Hannah, and wish you all a very happy New Year and a healthy New Year. My overview will cover 4 short overviews. One is just about Cork Healthy Cities itself, our political strategy, the WHO political strategy, which Yeltsin has looked at already, but I'll just go into more detail. And then just to touch on the EU Summit of Mayors in October of this year in Cork. So my first slide is really about what Cork Healthy Cities vision is. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Healthy Cities Network, you're probably doing it already in your local towns and villages and in your communities in promoting your community as a healthy community or a healthy city. There's lots of activities that's been held in terms of health promotion and health prevention. And there's fantastic models of health promotion right across the European network and across your own cities and networks as well. And you probably get a flavour of some of ours in a few minutes, but when you get a flavour of those, I think you'll come to the conclusion that you probably are a healthy city or a healthy town already. It's just you haven't put an umbrella over it. So I suppose what we do is we work together in supporting, enabling, and validating and strengthening what we do in Cork under the Cork Healthy Cities banner, and it's a city that connects to improve the health and well-being of all its people and reduce health inequalities. Um, we have a profile of the city which focuses on the social determinants of health and which identify health inequalities. We collaborate, as in we work in partnership and support good practice and support innovation. Very, very important key element of this. And we communicate through good practices through our groups and our events that are being held in the city and through all of the state agency. And we advocate for social justice to with a view to reducing health inequalities. So moving on to the next slide, it's key to have partners involved. It's not delivered by any one agency or community group. It's delivered by an interagency, an inter-community partnership. And each of the partners share the task of chairing the network on an equal basis. So there's huge partnership here, and there's a huge network of participation. So we would have the universities, the HSC or Health Authority or community groups, or police on Garda Síochána, Cork City Council, community groups like Let's Grow Together, Early Intervention for Children, Sexual Health Centre, and these partners are crucial because we all bring an equal information and equal interpretation of what we would like our city to be as a health city. And we do that through various other initiatives. Through our next slide is through the Cork Age Friendly Alliance, involving our older people. Of course, back to the slide, yes, and through the Cork City Friendly City, and working with Green Spaces for Health and Let's Play Cork. So they're just a flavour and a sample of what the partnership is and how that is delivered. And my next slide goes to our health action plan for 2030. So our Cork City's Healthy Action Plan is really the Bible or the springboard that gives us the mandate really, I suppose, and to amplify how we can connect to improving health and well-being for all our people and reduce those health inequalities. So we often refer back to our action plan and review it periodically as health issues evolve, particularly after post-COVID, the issues that that came to the surface as a result of the pandemic, and particularly looking at older people as well in terms of the high rise of dementia and Alzheimer's. There's a lot of issues here for older people that has been identified. And next slide, a sample of those is just a few. These slides will just show you some of the events that we organised. Of course, our main profile person in terms of delivering the services and overseen as Denise Cahill, our coordinator, our Healthy Cities coordinator. She brings vast experience and knowledge and partnership with a wide variety of people across the network. And you'll see some of that we had a free pop-up playground for one day in the city centre, which was very, very, very successful. And on the next slide, you'll see some tactical organisation in the city as well. Placing seating, going back to very, very old traditions that are my parents and grandparents would have played, with basic chalk and writing on the street, on the pavements, and playing with games that really cost very, very little. But bringing the experience of how our older people enjoyed life without all of the modern technology of today. And of course, the next slide then shows us how the Child Friendly City Network operates, and giving them, our young people, some space and a voice, and to give them the advantage and influence of what their needs are and what we want to hear from young people, both young and old. And they came and visited the Lord Mayor, former Lord Mayor Dan Boyle, recently to the City Chamber. And so these are what we call rebel youth creators. We're a rebel city coming from the Red City of Cork. And these are really our great rebel creators in terms of what we want to hear in delivering the needs of their health issues into future. And the next slide again is a sample of Let's Play Cork. It's a creative expert exercise for children, and it's about bringing play into the streets, and experiencing health and well-being and what you can actually do to demonstrate what a healthy city is all about. And I'm sure many of you in your own towns and villages are doing examples like that, of various projects in your communities, walkways, yoga, music, dance. All of those are part of being a healthy city. But I think the uniqueness of being under the umbrella of the WHO is that we share those experiences. We share them locally here in Cork in our partnership. We then share them with our partners nationally in Ireland, and with our partners in Belfast and Anne and all of their projects. And then we have the opportunity to learn and experience from the WHO network when we meet at our annual business meeting. So my message from this one is that you're probably doing it already, as I've said, repeated a few times. So it's about how you package that and promote it. And obviously there are huge other challenges in terms of health inequalities, but in demonstrating what is available to the citizens of your city and your town, as a healthy city. I'm going to move to the political agenda of this, and the political, our City Hall is in the heart of the city. It was opened in 1920. It's a place that has a great, the people have a great feel for City Hall and the office of Lord Mayor. And it's the heart of democracy in our city. Cork City Council has 31 reps, members. And at the end of each local elections, which was last year, all of the political parties agree to appoint a political rep to the council. And that political rep, which is me, and I have two other colleagues, we've decided to increase the membership. Our role is to promote the actions um, of the local groups in our city under the Healthy Cities banner, uh, influence that by with funding and also through our city development plan. Um, the appointment lasts for 5 years, on the term of the council, and the political reps attend all of the Cork Healthy Cities Committee. Um, because I've been involved for a while now, I've also been appointed to the National Committee and to the WHO Political Committee in the EU. So, as you know yourself, once you're nominated to one committee, you're nearly asked to do some other work. But I'm happy to do that because this is a great project. And our commitment is to be a voice of the council and drive the healthy city agenda, and more particularly to support the action plan and bring it to council. So my next slide shows you what that political journey is. Um, the political journey really is that we walk through our strategic policy committees. So we have six strategic policy committees, where each of the members um, are of the council are participants with external members from, we say, from the housing department or finance, or for the environment. And um, the action plan is brought, all of those members sit on the corporate policy group, which also has the chief executive and the director of services. So the Lord Mayor of the day chairs the meeting of the corporate policy group, which includes the chairs of the SPC committees. And what we decided to do was to bring the action plan of the action plan to each of the committees. And Denise and I made presentations um, to each of the committees, and it got a very wide audience, and it came back to the corporate policy group. We were delighted to receive our designation, and our Prime Minister, and Taoiseach Micheál Martin, was on hand to congratulate us on that. So my next slide shows you that the action plan is approved by the council and agreed to each SBC, and then following that consultation and the reports returned to council. And critically, then what happens here is that the work of the Healthy City is approved by council and adopted. That is critically important, that each political rep who is a chair of the Strategic Policy Committee takes on the responsibility that health and well-being will be part of the policy of each of committee. And the outcome of that is that the health is firmly central in the preparation of the city development plan, which again, when we developed our city development plan last year, health and well-being were put at the center of the city development plan, and each chapter in our city development plan highlights that health is one of the core issues that we need to address at city level. And so by all of that, the political rep and the external partner is aware of including health and well-being in any future decision making. And that strategy has been applauded nationally and across the WHO European network. And the approval, or phase 7, strongly highlights council's role in the political input. So that's the local role that the political leadership has taken in Cork City Council through the Strategic Policy Committee, including the Lord Mayor of the day, including the Chief Executive and the Director of Services at the administration level, the plan adopted and the actions and the plans adopted by the council in totality, and then the actions are supported throughout the 5-year plan. Then moving on to the next slide of the political vision group, which Jilta has already spoken about. Then this group is engages politicians to support and guide the strategic approach of healthy cities in developing draft political visions of each phase, and the next phase is in place. So it gives a political commitment to increase efforts to improve and protect the health and well-being of of all our citizens across the EU network and the WHO network. So we're now moving from local steps to national steps to the WHO family, which really strengthens urban leadership for health and health inequality and well-being. And our colleague, Kira Fortune is heading up the WHO EU directorship, and she has vast experience in terms of driving the WHO vision, and we were fortunate to be able to visit Breno last year and have detailed discussion on the next phases. The next slide will show you the different political statements and these are available from the WHO. We've had the Copenhagen Consensus of Mayors. We've had the political statement on the Healthy Cities Network. Health and Wellbeing for All is celebrating 35 years of Healthy Cities movement, and then the City Leadership for Health and Sustainable Development. And these are documents that are not just put on the shelf. They are taken out at at various meetings. We develop them and discuss them, particularly at the annual business meeting, which this year will be held in Portugal. But these are really vital documents that we work on collaboratively together over the year as we meet maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and particularly at the annual business meeting. Of course, we're all focused on the next slide, which is the 6 Ps, which is peace, planet, peace, people, participation, and prosperity. And you'll see that this is really our roadmap, and it's important to kind of highlight those again, has been spoken earlier. If you go to the next slide, in terms of investing in the people who make up our cities, because this is what it's about. It's about the people in our cities. And it's designing urban places that improve health and well-being. Not every space would be suitable to develop a health and well-being space, but it's identifying that. And that's where that's done through the Department of the Environment and maybe the Department of Housing. And that's why those departments are important to be involved in the Policy Committee. It's not about just one area. It's about an interagency. It's about interdepartmental, and then it's about fostering greater participation and partnerships. And that brings us to including from the young to the old, and those who have different needs, improving community prosperity and access to common goods and services. Um, and I think we've put an awful lot of focus in recent times on peace and security through inclusive societies, which is really very important. And of course, with climate change and that protecting the planet from degradation, including through sustainable consumption and production, are all part of what we need to be addressing. 6 very big challenges, but achievable when you come together and work as a team. Which is my next slide, is together as a healthy city. We commit to act collectively with other cities in the WHO region and globally through a focus on people, places, participation, prosperity, peace, and the planet for the pursuit of improved health and well-being, and to meet the urgent and transformative demands of the United Nations 2030 agenda for sustainable development. And of course, like, there's no deadline in this. We cannot afford to fail, and we have to work together in terms of challenging the emerging needs that come in our pathway. And then moving forward to the next one is then looking at the tackling the triple crisis, the climate change, the biodiversity loss, the environmental pollution, while recovering from the COVID crisis. And here cities have an essential role. And cities should adopt multi-sectoral responses to deal with complex future challenges, because not every city has the same problems, but we can learn from each other in terms of what the challenges are, and share and exchange successful cases, examples, which are evidence and innovations that are successfully showcased through the Healthy Cities Network and the regional hub. So just to kind of wind up, my next slide highlights an invitation to you and to your mayors, and to all of you who are interested in this concept, that at the moment the WHO have commissioned a summit on climate and health, and the final declaration of that will be in my own native city, in Cork City, on the 5th and the 6th of October in 2026. And this will convene political leaders from across the WHO Healthy Cities Network at a pivotal time when Cork holds the EU presidency in July. And that meeting will provide a platform to translate city experiences and scientific evidence into political commitments, ensuring local voices shape European and global policy debates on climate and health. It's focused both on climate and health. And the summit aims to translate consultation insights into commitments by bringing forward priorities gathered during the Climate and Health Commission, which is underway at the moment in European cities, foster cross-level dialogue between mayors, EU institutions and the WHO, and adopt a collective city statement on our consensus to serve as a unified political outcome reflecting cities' priorities and commitments. It is chaired by the Katrin Jakobitjar, who is the former Prime Minister of Iceland, and she is engaging in a wild consultation at the moment through the Commission, and we are expecting a very, very big and wide audience from mayors and equivalent political representatives across the European region, and of course any partner that wishes to engage and be involved in this fantastic initiative that has a very particular focus on health and well-being and climate for our citizens. So that's just a quick overview. I'm conscious of time, and we have Hannah, another speaker on, but I'm really honoured and delighted to share my experiences with you across those four elements. And I do hope that you will make contact with your partners and your mayors, and let us know here in Cork if an invitation would like to be extended to you and your city to come to Cork in October 5th and 6th. So thank you very much, Anna, and well done for organising today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald. I think some really interesting and key points that I picked up on from your presentation. I think what we would always say, similar to yourself, is that the umbrella of WHO gives you the mandate to work on these emerging or innovative concepts and allows you to strengthen the work that you're already doing and collaborate and share that your best practice and your experience. And I picked up on your work around child-friendly cities and the place standard tool, and there are certainly things that we are interpreting and working on as well. And it's fantastic to be able to access those. And it really is about putting health at the centre of public policy. So I think the opportunities that the network provides as well to be able to work across WHO and engage in the political vision group too. But what we will certainly be doing is taking a delegation from the UK network to attend the summit in October. So we look forward to seeing you in person there. So if you hold on to the end of the webinar, we have Hannah who's going to present for us now, and then we'll have a quick question and answer session at the end. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hannah, you're very welcome. I have your bio and I'm going to read through it, but I'm going to say that we will be very familiar with Hannah. Hannah was an integral part of the WHO Secretariat for many years and has supported cities and national networks to deliver their priorities and also interpret those high-level concepts that we talk about. Hannah Dunning is a public health professional with experience advancing the Healthy Cities movement, so we'll be very familiar and delighted that you're still engaged. You're now with the national network in Denmark, and we're very keen to hear about your experience of how you're interpreting those concepts right across the network, how the network operates, and I suppose how we can gain inspiration and learning in terms of how the UK network currently operates, and your themes and your priorities. So you're very welcome. You're happy to share your slides, Hannah?
Yes, I am.
Lovely. Okay.
Thank you so much, Anne, and thank you again for the invitation to come and speak today at this webinar. I think we here in the Danish National Network are inspired by this event, and I think we hope to be organizing something similar to be inspiring our members as well. Now, can you let me know, can you see my slides?
Yes, but they're just on, they haven't started. You're on notes at the minute, so I can see your notes page and the two side by side. I think you just need to change the view.
Yeah, let me. Of course, when we tested earlier, this is not what happens. And then,
Of course, I know.
of course. Okay, let me see if I can swap these. Mm. How's that?
Yep, perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks for your patience while I figure that out. But good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hanna Dunning, and I am the National Network Coordinator for the Danish National Network, and I'm here in snow Copenhagen. I also just want to quickly say thank you to Tony Fitzgerald for his inspirational talk. I met Councillor Fitzgerald back at the Copenhagen Consensus of Mayors when he was Lord Mayor, and it's just so wonderful to see your inspiration and your just continuation of this movement as the years go on. So thank you for that. I know we here in Denmark are always looking to see how you and Cork are really innovative in your ways of taking the healthy cities approach forward. So I will share now a little bit about our network here in Denmark, who we are, how we collaborate, and what we do. The Danish Healthy Cities Network has been an accredited national network since 1991, and we are an NGO that bring together municipalities, regions, and civil society, as well as national knowledge actors like the National Public Health Institute. And we are run by a secretariat of 6 individuals as well as 1 student employee. Here we all are, but we are growing, which is fantastic at this point, due to engagement in new projects and also the fact that our network is growing. And our Danish Healthy Cities Network is funded based on member fees that are annually paid, and those fees are based on the population size of your municipality. So due to a growing network and more national projects and hopefully some international projects coming up, we are really delighted to be growing at the moment. So we here in Denmark currently work with 50 member municipalities, which is about half of the municipalities in Denmark, but the members represent 75% of the population, or a little over 4 million Danes. And within those 50 member municipalities, we have 5 municipalities who also are a designated WHO Healthy City. And they work directly with the WHO Healthy Cities Secretariat, Jaitra and her colleagues. They're here in the UN city. So Horsens has been a member, one of the founding members, one of the 11, and they have really done a great job of building the movement here in Denmark. And they are one of the key reasons that the Danish National Network was established in 1991, along with Copenhagen. And these 5 cities have worked closely with the 6 Ps, which you see here translated into Danish, adapting them into their own local context and really looking through the priorities to pick and see what where the needs are and where the wins can be. As an NGO, we are managed by a board, and here you can see a glimpse of our board, which is a combination of our municipal members as well as key partners, the Ministry of Health, the National Public Health Institute, and the Organization of Danish Regions. We also work in what we call strategic partnerships with a handful of partners, and this is where we have really seen our vision and our goals are aligned, and we work closely with them on projects, on knowledge development, and ensuring that the city's voices come out through into these national policies and with these national actors. We also collaborate a lot with the Nordic national networks, the Swedish, Icelandic, Norwegian, and Finnish, as well as, of course, the World Health Organization, the European office, which is also here located in Copenhagen, and the Wellbeing Economy Alliance. And just to say that, as Councillor Fitzgerald was mentioning, it's about the collaboration. It's bringing people to the table. And we are so thankful to have been working with so many NGOs, ministries, universities in the past years to really be taking the Healthy Cities movement further in Denmark. So that was just a quick glimpse into who we are and who we're working with. But I wanted to dive in today into our ways of working and how we really support the municipalities. So here is a snapshot of kind of the different ways of working. And of course, these aren't standalone pillars, but there's really a lot of overlap. For example, right now we have a project that just kicked off with our members. We are piloting a project called A Healthier Life for All, from policy to practice. And with 3 municipalities, we've created a policy lab where we're really developing capacity building, looking at the gaps and challenges of public health and health in all policies on the municipal level, so that we can take those learnings and take it to the national level. As here in Denmark, we prepare to have our very first public health law, which will come into effect in 2027. So this project really cuts across a lot of these pillars. And I want to now dive into our thematic groups. So here in the Sundbynetværket, in Danish Healthy Cities, we say that our thematic group is really the heart of our network. They have existed since the network was formed in 1991, or sorry, and they all are managed and led by the cities or our partners when they see that there is a need to have a group form on a specific thematic topic. And groups come and go based on needs and priorities. For example, we had a group on COVID-19 that was very active for a few years, which is now closed. And a new group, for example, on Good Senior Lives has just kicked off, really wanting to look at how we can turn Denmark into an age-friendly society. So these approximately 20 to 22 thematic groups really keep the cities engaged and able to connect with one another on the priorities, just like WHO has their working groups and task forces as well. And we have in the past been using these groups to also bring in WHO strategy, the publications, and at times also the experts from WHO to come in as speakers and really present their findings and how we here in the Danish network can be leading the way. One of these groups that was on the screen there is our Healthy Cities Leadership Network. And it works with public sector leaders and municipalities to be strengthening the competencies so that they can then ensure that in the municipalities, we're really working across sectors, across silos, to ensure that health is at the top of the agenda and that other sectors really see the importance of this collaboration and their impact on public health. And the other piece of this is also, of course, working among colleagues within the municipality, but also that political side, how to ensure to the political commitment that you need to be working across sectors and to have, those champions like Councillor Fitzgerald. We then developed the Politician's Guide and adapted it into the Danish context based on a guide that was created by our colleagues in Norway. Guide was for city professionals to pick and choose relevant topics and slides, and there is a script that was developed along with it. And it goes through 3 themes: the legal framework of public health, the context here in Denmark, an introduction into the determinants of health, and finally, the 3rd section looks at equity and what does health equity look like? What can it look like? So just to say a few words on the legal framework, it's really an exciting time right now in Denmark as this new public health law is being developed. And the municipalities and here at the Danish Healthy Cities Network, we're all very excited to see what will come and to really have a say on the development of this law throughout 2026 so that the municipalities are really in a good place to enact this law and strengthen the public health in the municipalities. I also wanted to share this slide because it is one of our members' favorites when they are introducing their colleagues or politicians to the Healthy Cities movement. We call this the iceberg, of course, and it really highlights that when colleagues consider public health and how they can impact health, often the conversation focuses around lifestyle, around diet, physical activity, but that we know these determinants, living and working conditions, economy, education, mental health, are all these underlying unseen factors which really play a huge role in shaping an individual's health. So this is really a visual that has been taken and adopted a lot within our network. And finally, just to say that these tools then have been both used by our members, but also at times we as the Secretariat are asked to come and present and work with city councils and municipal colleagues to go through this discussion around what is my role and how does my job really impact the health of individuals. And it's really been inspiring to see that when municipalities go through this process, they're able to align and find new ways of working. For example, in the municipality of VIII here in Denmark, they've recently gone through this exercise. And so to see their city health plan and their strategy really have this at the heart was, very cool for us to see. I want to share now a couple resources that are available online. And I know these are in Danish, but thanks to the magic of online translation, they're more accessible. This one is called Sunneboa, which is the Healthy Citizen. And we have created this website, thanks to funding from the Ministry of Health, to pull together municipal level case studies from all over the country, whether it's on nature and health or youth, or mental health. And all municipalities can come in and submit a case and share how they did it, what were the findings, how was it evaluated. And then other cities come in here to get inspiration. So much like the WHO's European database, this is the Danish version, and it's online for anyone to look through when searching for inspiration. Also, just to say that on our website, under materials, you can find all of our publications, again, in Danish, but we have here also our strategy from 2020 to 2030, as well as a lot of tools and resources adapted for the Danish municipalities. And one of these, which I wanted to touch on, and Councillor Fitzgerald has already touched on this as well, but the Place Standard tool has really been just a gem that we have been able to take from our work with the Place Health Inequities and Wellbeing Working Group that we're a part of and adapt it to Denmark. Thanks to funding from the Ministry of Health again, we piloted this with 14 municipalities around Denmark. And it was so well received. Here's some examples from our municipality, Frederiksberg. But the project was used in different contexts, and we, of course, had it translated. And the evaluation of the project can also be found on our website. But just to say that we were delighted to see that Public Health Scotland is now a WHO collaborating center. And really looking into phase 8, we want to be exploring how we can revitalize our work with the tool and bring it forward again. And on that note, I just wanted to go through some of our goals and dreams for phase 8. This year, we celebrate 35 years of the network. And so we hope to organize a large meeting of all of our partners and collaborators and extend the invitation also out to some of our international collaborators as we celebrate this achievement. We are also going to be working, of course, on this new P, prepare, seeing what does that mean for us and how can we support the municipalities. Again, these projects, both nationally and internationally, continued collaboration, and increased political engagement is really a goal of ours. We see that, as Councillor Fitzgerald was saying, often this is happening, but really getting those champions on board to push the agenda forward is a goal of ours. And then supporting municipalities as we go through the adoption of the new public health law. As I mentioned before, turning Denmark into an age-friendly society, and this is, of course, building upon the new WHO strategy for healthy aging. Aging is living. And then we want to continue learning and sharing with our colleagues across the European region. This is really the heart of Healthy Cities family, is the openness and the willingness to share and collaborate. And I, at that point, want to also extend just a warm welcome to all of you to reach out to me, to reach out to Sundbynetværket if there's anything you want to learn more about or hear more about, or just have a call and talk about healthy cities in general. I'm open to it anytime. So thank you very much. I'll end there.
Thank you, Hannah. That was fantastic to hear. Again, some of the key points that I know Emma Dixon just put into the chat about the place standard tool is certainly something that we will be focusing on in the UK network. It was great to hear about your membership and the coverage and reach of the network. And Denmark is always cited as one of those key nations that is really tackling inequalities. And we're so keen to learn about the interventions and the programs that you have in place. So I'll be really keen to hear about your pilot on the Healthy Life for All. And hopefully then that it's something that can be shared and adapted into the UK setting. Similarly, we looked at the Norwegian program for political reps, and it's something that we are putting in place for 2026 to look at it as a training program. So that's certainly the benefit of the Healthy Cities Network, that you can share. You're working on similar themes and topics, taking a different approach, and then it's that critical appraisal of what works well in our own setting and how we can apply it. So really, really grateful for you attending and presenting on your work, and very interesting to hear then about the public health law that'll come into place next year, and a really interesting opportunity for you to gather feedback and raise awareness among your members and get them actively involved. So thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation, and Hannah's slides and contact information will be shared next week following the webinar with the recording. I have just a few slides. I'm going to just ask you to stay for a few minutes, Hannah, and then we'll finish on time. There were some slides that I put together, but I'm going to quickly go through them and just share the main points, not to keep you longer than you need. So thank you for joining us today. Our membership is also growing. Our current members are there, and we have a few new members due to join at the end of this month as well, which is very exciting. We've heard a lot about the transition from phase 7 to phase 8. And when we met, when the UK Healthy Cities and Towns Network met for the phase 8 planning workshop in Birmingham, we identified these 4 key priorities. So the work that was done with members previous to the meeting around the one-to-one meetings and looking at their own priorities, but we came up with climate, place and health, which will largely look at the implementation of the place standard tool across the UK, health and all policies and health impact assessment. The commercial determinants of health is being led by Wakefield and their link with Bath University. And that working group will start to operate in early February, and then also prepare a new theme for us, but we're looking at how cities and towns can respond to climate and civic emergencies. So starting that conversation with people and with all age groups, and really looking at community engagement and risk communication strategies, what that will look like to mirror work that is being done at a statutory level, and how there can be that seamless transition and how we can learn from our experiences of COVID. We've heard about the ways of working of the network, the capacity building, the thought leadership, those really innovative concepts that we have the mandate to work on when we're either a member of a national network or a designated city with WHO, and availing of the evidence and the tool development. And it is ultimately about policy influence and sharing learning, both elevating the role, the learning from your city or town at a European level, and also that kind of cross-pollination of work that's being done. I should say that I work with Belfast Healthy Cities. We are the secretariat for the UK National Network. We took over from Newcastle just April 2025, and we're delighted to be looking at phase 8 and how we develop and learn from our themes and our priorities. The ways of working, you'll have heard from Jatra, the phase 8 goals and priorities are still largely the Sustainable Development Goals, that 2030 agenda, but looking at the European Programme of Work. So really a chance for our members to look at those high-level public health priorities that are delivered by WHO and implement them at a local level. And we will be asking our members to identify colleagues in their cities that can join the task forces and connect with colleagues across Europe on healthy aging, place health inequalities, the Health and All Policies Working Group, the Environmental Health Working Group, and then the new ones that are being implemented for phase 8, food systems, resilience, art, culture and health, and the child-friendly city. So certainly a mandate for WHO to engage and also have that youth voice in all of the work that we're doing. And there are other opportunities to identify and link in with partners across Europe on international research bids, and the Cities at Heart programme, which is just beginning January 2026. Our members, Belfast and Birmingham, are both part of that program. So upcoming really interesting events that we have, we're hosting the Korean National Network in April. There's an event with the Northwest OHID, Office of Health and Improvement and Disparities, in March of 26 with the CMO for England, Professor Chris Whitty, learning about the experience of tackling inequalities and what the network brings as well. And then we have a webinar next week with our colleagues in Queen's University, the Groundswell Consortium, which is across Liverpool, Edinburgh and Belfast, and the work around climate, health and nature. So that's the first in a series of webinars. So you will receive all of this work. If you're interested in learning more, getting involved in the network, please contact me and I can send you information around criteria for membership that Jatra outlined. If you need support to develop your application for designation, or really just to find out about the ways of working and the priorities, I'm happy to speak to you or send on information at any time. So